Hey everybody, Ola aka Chalk One alongside Katie aka Peekaboo Bang for part 2 of our Q&A, which we got so many questions this had to be a 2-part series. So let's get right into it. Katie, why don't you start us off with the first question?
So the first one comes from Dat Rage Guy, aka Josh, good friend of ours. When did you start playing games, and what was the first game that really clicked and made you realize you'd continue to play video games? You want to go first?
I want to go way back. I think so I started playing games when I was very little. My dad had a PC in the basement in his he had a processing room kind of thing, like a dark room that he had a PC in. It was, I don't remember what model it was, but it was pre the x86 series. So it was one of those. It still had, no, I think the one he had at home had a color screen, or maybe it was one of the orange monochrome screens. I don't remember. But I can remember playing Sokoban on there. I remember one of the first games I vividly remember playing was Leisure Suit Larry. That's actually where I was living in Germany at the time, right? So my first experiences with the English language were literally things like sit down, use rubber, because otherwise you'd get AIDS in the game when you did the thing. So that's some of my initial gaming. And then we also ended up having an Amiga 500 in my room and played Simpsons game on there, and there was a few. So I've played for a long time. The first game that really clicked, I don't know. I think my mom probably figured out that I was going to be playing games for a long time when me and my buddy were playing Comanche on the PC and started making ourselves little pilot badges. We made little badges that we laminated with tape that had like a picture on it, and I was the pilot and my buddy was the co-pilot. I think at that moment my mom probably went, yeah, this guy's going to be playing games for a while. That's a good question.
That is a good question. Okay, so when did I start playing games? Very, very young. I was incredibly. There's a picture of me as a toddler playing our NES in our old house. So I played a lot of Mario Brothers and stuff, and Zelda and stuff like that with my brother on our NES. And our Atari. I remember playing our Atari.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure my parents still have that. And that just kind of worked its way up into, all the Nintendo consoles and that kind of thing. I think, though, that I really clicked into gaming and really started getting into it when my older brother, who really, it's all his fault. I blame him entirely.
Thank you, older brother.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. He had a computer, a PC, and played Half-Life and Quake and Doom, Duke Nukem, that kind of thing. And we had a LAN in our house, and his buddies would come over and we'd play that. But one winter when I was in middle school, still I was very young, my dad was going to go visit him at the CPL. And go visit him and see, what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got introduced into this world of computer gaming, like hardcore tournaments and playing for cars and money and all sorts of stuff. And so I kind of hung around the event. I didn't leave. I ended up staying there with my brother and helping him. And then the next summer I went back and the following event and worked with him again and played Counter-Strike. Really got sat down in the BYOC and with the taught about the game and really played. And I think that was when it really clicked, when I really got into it and fell in love with the whole everything. And I've been here ever since. So
yeah, it's fun to think back sometimes. I have so many fond memories of gaming as a child. Like, we never had in my house, we never had a console when I was a kid. Not until I was about 16 or something, my brother got a Nintendo 64. But before that, our neighbors had a Nintendo, an NES, or a Super NES. We never did. We had Game Boys, we had the Amiga, we had a PC. I remember buying my own PC way back in Germany. I remember I splurged on the 2x CD drive, which was like an extra $200 to go from a 1X to a 2X. And I remember playing games with my buddies on vacation at my grandparents. Like we would go to his dad's office. He had I think he was like a tile business, and he had an office computer, and we would like install the Indiana Jones game that came on like 12, floppy disks. We would install that on there, and also some of the very first times where we'd use a null modem cable to network two machines to play Doom multiplayer. Like I kind of wish I still had some of those systems, because every once in a while I'll see a photograph of somebody that they posted online of like their gaming room, and how they have like this nostalgia section that's got all the old cartridges and consoles and systems and stuff. But yeah, I'm old.
I think the first computer game I ever remember playing, though, it was a game called Treasure Cove. And it was kind of like one of those educational, games on the PC. And you were like a scuba diver, and it was like a side scroller, and you would swim through the underwater world, and you were supposed to find things and solve puzzles and such. But
there was a lot of games like that. I remember playing one that was supposed to improve your hand-eye coordination. It was basically like a game of Snake where you had to move the mouse cursor through a maze without touching the borders. Yeah, I don't know. It's different than it is now. Like it's a very different experience, but I don't know. I think one day I will introduce my kids to some of that really old school gaming. Not just here's an iPad, go play, Castle Crashers or Pixel Junk or whatever the fuck those things are called. Okay. Krolman, back to Battlefield, asks, do jets belong in Battlefield since they are a nightmare to balance? Should they just be removed?
No, they should not be removed. Yes, they belong in Battlefield.
I agree. Just because they're a nightmare to balance doesn't mean they should just give up on them. I think they are not balanced very well in BF4, but it's not going to be an issue in Hardline because there won't be any jets, from what I understand. There'll be helicopters, but no jets. So, yeah, I think they have a place in Battlefield.
I almost think the jet balancing issue in BF4 is less the jets and more BF4. It's more some of the limitations that we've seen with Battlefield 4.
Yeah. And jets, I'm not a big jet pilot. Wasn't in BF3 either. Find it
ever
difficult.
Since this whole Phantom boat experience, though, I really like the jets now, and I'm like, oh, I can fly.
Yeah. Well, I can fly. I can't do what some people do. It's funny. I think part of the reason I think jets are unbalanced, and I think part of the reason why a lot of people think that, is because you see somebody do something to you with a jet that you can't reproduce. I get killed by people doing stuff in jets, and if I try that, I just end up smashing into things or making a general fool out of myself. So
I'm not a good pilot by any means, but I got the basics down.
Yeah, that air superiority stuff. Having to get those 20 kills or whatever that was. We learned some tricks doing that though. So hey, there's that. Yep. It's not all bad. Andrew Jones, another question here. When can we see Chalk's cat? I know she was in an old podcast meowing. The cat that you saw or heard in in the older podcasts was probably 10. I don't have her anymore, but the cat I have now, Lily, she comes by occasionally. She's freaked the shit out of Katie before when suddenly she jumps in the back of my chair.
Mid-recording.
Yeah.
Scared the crap out of me.
But I can't, unfortunately, she's not one of those cats that I can just pick up and put on my lap and have her sit there. If I do that, you will see her claw my eyes out trying to get away from me, which may be entertaining, but not so much for me.
You tweet photos of Lily, though.
She's precious, so. Yeah, she is. And she likes to hang out with me, but with a buffer of that much. Like, I will snuggle up to your arm, but don't touch me, kind of thing. So
my dogs are not that way. They have Chalk has a cat. I have 3 dogs, and they have no sense of personal space. they will invade your personal bubble, so to speak. They come visit me every now and then too, if I'm in here gaming or if we're streaming or whatever. But yeah,
pets are fun.
Yeah, they are. They bring a whole new level of interesting to your life.
All right, I'm going to go pick another question from PH Prof just because there's an abundance of questions. I like number 19 on row 24 here that you picked. Are gamers unwilling to change? He asked some very deep questions, by the way. Like some of these, yes, some of these are like rocket science questions, which we're not even going to bother with. But some of them are ones that could be, we could take 3 of those questions and make an entire podcast out of them, just those topics. But what do you think, sort of the short version of are gamers unwilling to change?
No, I think by nature, gamers are willing to change. In some ways, I think they're willing to, you kind of have to learn and adapt and change within a game. You have to, find what makes you better, find what you do well, what other people are doing and adapt to that, especially in a game like Battlefield. There's so much going on. So you really have to, if they're pushing one side, you need to figure out how to flank that route or cut it off or, do whatever. Yeah. So I don't think gamers are unwilling to change. I think they are opposed to change of things that they already are good at. So once you've mastered something, I think gamers they get a little lazy because they know they're good at it and they know they're good in that situation. And so they're unwilling for it to be changed for them. If they change it, they're fine. If someone says, okay, we're going to change this, like the whole med pack thing,
right.
Gamers were
guilty of that.
Right. And I was too. But I don't think in a nature that they're unwilling to change. I think it's when things are being changed on them that they get a little stick in the mud. Like,
that's a very good distinction, actually, between that. Because I was going to say, in general, I think people find change is difficult for people in general, for the most part. Change is, even if it's for the better, change is not always easy. I think that's just human nature, because we get comfortable with the way that
it's scary.
Things are.
Right. It's different. It's
there's
new.
different levels of scary, right? There's the scary of the med kit not reviving anymore.
Whereas I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, but then when you talk about change in general, like in a person's life, whether it's a change in career or whatever, it's never easy. But you made a good point that gamers are pretty good at adapting for the most part. But yeah, there is certainly some pushback when developers make changes, especially big sweeping changes, and that has affected Battlefield 4 probably more so than any other game out there. Battlefield 4 has changed a lot since it came out to now, and part of that's because of the CTE. And, DICE, I guess, at some point has really decided, we're going to make this better. We're going to change it for the better, in our opinion, and that's just the way it is. And some people don't like that. That's the way it is, and it's always a little bit difficult, like you said, when somebody makes a change for you and forces you into that. But there are so many games out there. If the game changes to the point where you don't enjoy it anymore, in my opinion, you just go and play something else. You just do something else if you can't adopt it. Like, I don't like it when people say that this has been forced on me. It's like, no, it hasn't. It may have been forced on the game, but you don't have to keep playing that. If it changes so much that you don't like it anymore, then you should find something else that you like.
And sometimes I think too the stagnation of a game, the lack of change, is what'll frustrate those more. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know any gamers that only play one game. Only. That's it. That's all they play is just that one.
There's a few that I know, but a lot of that I think is because they're very busy people and they just don't have time. Like, there's a few people I know that play pretty much League of Legends exclusively.
Yeah.
Because they have 3 hours a week.
I don't doubt that they're out there.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know many of them that they exclusively stick to one game.
Right. Yeah, they're not. It's not like they're closed to other games.
Right.
Yeah.
And League of Legends hasn't always been around, not since those people probably started gaming, so they would have had to have experienced some sort of change at some point. Yep. But I think the stagnation of a game is where the more heavily the frustration is going to come.
Yeah, and you also get, it's hard to please people because some people don't want change, and then some people grow tired of no change. Heartline was a good example of that. It's too much like BF4. It's too different to be a Battlefield game. It's like, well, shit. That's just, gotta live with it. Did you want to go to the next question that you have highlighted down there?
So the next one is from Stella King _Psy. Any favorite Battlefield comedy moments from this year? either witnessed or done by your good selves in the game or via the community?
We've had some comedic moments.
We've had some good ones.
We've had some. Did I blow you up in the Jeep? Was that this year? Was that in 2014?
Yes.
Because that's one of the funniest things I've ever done.
No.
It was at the moment. It isn't anymore.
I think the fallout after was funnier than the actual event.
That is true.
Because I think I threw something at you about you being the Colonel from KFC and leaving me extra crispy or something. For those of you that don't know and haven't seen or heard the story, this was not recorded.
No, it wasn't. Unfortunately,
we were playing and we were we were on Firestorm, and I think we were messing around with the Gold Magnum assignment, or we were talking assignments or something, and we had an assignment topic coming up in one of the podcasts, but we were on Firestorm, and we were playing, and we were having a grand old time with multiple people. There were friends playing with us, and I died, and Chalk was driving a Jeep, and so I was like, I'll spawn on Chalk, and we'll be in the Jeep, and we'll get to where we're going, we'll get to the point.
Excellent choice.
It'll be all good. Yeah. So I spawn on Chalk and I spawn in the vehicle and I turn away from where Chalk is sitting in the driver's seat to shoot at some dudes or, spot somebody or whatever. And when I turn back, boo, just like a Battlefield Friends episode, boo, he's just gone. And I go careening. He sends me driverless into one of those big fuel tanker trucks and explodes on impact, and I'm killed in action. And he's just like, oh, were you still in that?
Oh, you didn't get out?
Oh, you didn't bail? No, but a warning would have been nice. Thanks, Chalk. Yeah.
That was pretty funny, and I will never live it down.
No, you won't.
There was also a video near the end of the year that you actually posted that you recorded and edited. With the jet ski, was it? No, we were in were we in an LAV?
We were
Helicopter landed on us.
We were. Oh no, what were we in? Was it the LAV?
I think it was an LAV.
Or a Jeep
or one of those
something.
Jeeps, one of the armored personnel carriers that didn't have a gun on top.
Yeah, it was the Humvee.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah, there were some funny moments like that.
Yeah. Because a jet ski, no, a snowmobile landed on top of us and was coming through the roof. And then we're like, what the fuck is going on here? And we pull into the point and a helicopter lands on us. And then I'm laughing too hard, but I managed to live through the entire thing.
And kill people somehow.
Yeah, and you get knifed by Mad Dog.
Yeah.
And you can watch Chuck and just his tags just get ripped off. It's pretty funny. We've had some good moments. There's been some other really good videos I've seen out there that people have done too. Mantis did one of just of my rage, just straight rage, because we did gloves for tags and he got a melee ribbon on me.
Oh yeah, 4 in a row.
And I was just raging hardcore. Yeah. I was so upset. It was a situation.
It's funny because sometimes there's people who stage funny Battlefield moments for a video. They'll have a certain topic or whatever and they'll stage something. But I find a lot of the times the most genuine funny moments happen just as you play. None of that stuff, we couldn't have scripted that. If we had that jet ski and the helicopter on it, if we tried to act that out, it wouldn't have worked because half of the funniness is just your reaction to it and the unexpected nature of what took place. So
yeah.
Well,
and me landing that snowmobile
right on its butt.
Rear.
Yeah.
It's that's part of the beauty and joy of Battlefield itself too, and the community, is that we can record these situations that happen that we're not expecting while we just play the game. And you're right; those are some of the best moments and funniest moments, is when they're not scripted and not planned at all.
Mm-hmm.
We even had some, we were playing with Snoov last night, Snoov and Sergeant Danger Cow, and there was even some interesting situations in just that short amount of time that we played. And
you have to laugh at things. A lot of times they can be messed up situations where you could easily be mad about it, but at some point you just have to laugh about them,
Yeah.
All right, going back to another deep question from PH Prof. Many of my gaming friends, I don't know why he put friends in quotes. What is that about?
They're kind of friends.
My
not really.
friends.
Just gaming friends. Kind of like your hey friends. Did you ever have a hey friend?
What is a hey friend? Like
A
the
hey
ones you just
friend
say hey to?
in school, right? Where you just say, "Oh hey,"
Yeah,
and then you
yeah.
keep going. That's your hey friend. Yeah.
Many of his friends refer to the days of BF3 as though it was all golden, but he recalls similar conversations during BF3 about BF3 and Bad Company 2. How much of this is just the rose-colored glasses effect, and how much of it is real? And I've thought about this before quite a bit, and I think I've talked about this a little bit as well, is that the launch of BF4 had a lot of people reminiscing about how smooth and great BF3 was, but the BF3 launch had its own share of issues. As I'm sure did Bad Company 2, as did Battlefield 2. Like, I've gone as far back as some of the Battlefield 2 patches that literally broke the game. I mean, compared to some of the issues we have with BF4, the BF4 issues were minor. They had some real big problems back in Battlefield 2. But my argument was always that when you look back, I think it's human nature to remember the positive experiences. You remember all the fun you had, the joy you had with your friends. You don't tend to remember the crappy stuff because it's not why would you hold on to that? So, yeah.
Oh, no, I hold on to stuff like that. I hold grudges when it comes to the game.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But
like
do you think there is some...
Head Glitch Highway is a nightmare in Battlefield 3. I never want to relive, but I will never forget it. And I hate that map. I hate that map with a passion. And why you people want to bring back night maps and already a game that's slow as shit does not... I don't know why you guys wanted night maps, but apparently that's
their test. That's okay. They'll come out.
Something for another day, but yeah. I'm just saying, like...
But yeah, there is definitely some of that rose-colored glasses effect, I think. For sure. Yeah.
It's a nostalgia value.
It is. And because none of those games are perfect. I don't think anyone can say that, Bad Company 2 was the perfect game. Guarantee you it wasn't. I didn't play very much of Bad Company 2, but I guarantee you there's lots of people who remember issues with it. Just like you just mentioned with BF3, there were lots of issues with BF3. Not just that particular map, but balance issues and...
And there are people that would tell you Counter-Strike Source is the best Counter-Strike that ever lived. And let me just tell you, Counter-Strike Source had more shit wrong with it when it came out. Like, it was just bad. It was god-awful on release. I'm just saying, like, I think the nostalgia of games definitely affects the viewpoint when looking back at a problem with a current game.
Yeah.
And even now, if you go back and play Battlefield 3, even now, you can pick up... And I don't know if it's because the awareness was so much more heightened after, the BF4 failings, or if you just go back and you're like, was it really that good? And then you play it with those, skeptical glasses on, and then you can pick out the problems a little better. Because, Battlefield 3 had its own, it still does.
Oh, yeah. There's still people that will argue with you for hours about the noobiness or whatever of the M16 in BF3. Or certain maps. There's just as many people that hate Operation Metro in BF3 as people that love it. That didn't go away. It's not like people suddenly started hating it when it came to BF4. So, there's always been issues like that. Do you want to pick another one?
So, Viking John RS, why is it so that people like Battlefield Bad Company 2 more than Battlefield 2?
Do they?
I guess why do people like Battlefield Bad Company 2 more than BF2?
Do they? I didn't even know that was necessarily a thing. They're so far apart in years.
I don't. I like Battlefield 2 more. Or not necessarily more.
But I didn't play Bad Company 2 very much. I played it... The bit I played was on the PS3, and I will always like a PC game over a console game just because I'm more comfortable in it.
Yeah. I think for me, Battlefield 2, because that was when I kind of re-picked up Battlefield and really... I just remember a lot of really good times with that game. That was... and Bad Company 2 wasn't something that was really...
And I almost wonder if he means more than Battlefield 3. Because I don't understand comparing Bad Company 2 to Battlefield 2. They're entirely different. I see a lot more people comparing Bad Company 2 to Battlefield 3 and saying, Bad Company 2 had much better destruction, the maps were much better, that it's a much better game. I see a lot of people reminiscing about Bad Company 2. Mm-hmm. And again, I think some of it is that rose-colored glasses effect. I'm sure that game had issues as well. The destruction was different in Bad Company 2 than Battlefield 3, but again, it's a change.
Yeah.
I think people just have their favorites.
The destruction. I think that really did change a lot of the face of the game too. That destruction level that they had in Bad Company 2, obviously, something a lot of anybody that's really into the Battlefield, scene will tell you that was part of the gameplay that was most beloved of that game.
Yeah, but it was also, Bad Company was the first game that had destruction. Bad Company 2,
but they don't really talk about that. Usually. Yeah. Usually, though, people bring up Bad Company 2 and not so much Bad Company itself. I think that's
people think that was the sweet spot for destruction, maybe. Mm-hmm. But
it was like a happy middle.
Yeah, I don't even know. I can't really say. Like I said, I don't remember Bad Company 2 all that well. But
okay.
People have their favorites.
So Viking, in answer to the question, we don't really know how to answer your question. That's really what we're going for right there. So I don't know if that helps.
Let's go to a question that I do know how to answer.
Okay.
I gotta find one.
I have one picked out.
Okay.
We're gonna go away from Battlefield for a second. Okay. So the question is from Andrew Jones. Will you all take a look at Elite Dangerous?
Ooh. Well. Sorry. I just did something stupid. I'm already there.
Yeah. Chalk has been playing Elite Dangerous since someone very nice, took care of that for him.
Yes. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Elite Dangerous is a very different game from Battlefield, of course. But like we said in the first part of the Q&A, we play a lot of different games. And I have a lot of fun with Elite Dangerous, and I'm actually going to try to convince you to pick it up at some point as well.
Oh, I want it. Yeah. I'm already going to buy it.
They're still working on the multiplayer. You can play multiplayer right now, but that's one of the areas that they're working on improving is like wing setups and actually being able to play together a little bit more. It's a great game. I have put up, there's several videos on my Let's Play channel. I have this idea of writing a review for Dawnbreaker Gaming about Elite Dangerous. I just have to find the time. I feel like I need to play that game a little bit more before I can say something proper about it. But yeah, I'm already playing it. Katie's interested, and it is a really cool game. It's very different, and it's sort of that. It's got parts of Eve. It's got parts of action. It's got parts of Euro Truck Simulator, trading and all that stuff. So it's a very interesting
I'm excited
game
to check it out. So I'll probably be picking it up soon and get myself a flight set up so I can enjoy that too.
Yeah, and that is a lot of fun.
For those of you that don't know, I did name Chalk One's AI in his ship.
Yes. Kate, do you remember what it stands for?
Yes.
Oh, good.
I named Kate, and it stands for Knowledge-Based Autonomous. I forgot the T. Technical engineer, something like that.
I would have to look it up.
Something like that. It was a pretty good name. Right.
It is.
So, but I already know what I'm going to name my AI. And if any of you steal it, I'm going to be very upset. But because Chalk's is so serious and sciencey, I'm going to go for something totally opposite, which is Joe. J-O, and it stands for Just Oral. Because he just takes oral commands. So that's what we're going for. Just oral.
I like it. All right.
Okay. So yeah, definitely checking out Elite. We're excited. He's been playing it obviously, and I'm sick of watching the videos and not being involved. So I will definitely pick it up. And
it is quite a lot of fun. I played a little bit of the multiplayer stuff with Rage, that Rage guy who asked the question earlier, and yeah, they need to fine tune some of the ways of finding each other and actually be able to like group up in the game and do that kind of. Right now, you're there together, but your gameplay is very much solo still.
Okay.
But they're working on it. A question from INF Slayer. Will Hardline get the visual recoil patch that BF4 got eventually? Now, I will admit that when you said the visual recoil patch, I wasn't 100% clear on what you meant by that. But It's
We
my
were both a little
understanding.
confused, actually. We were like, what?
But I think it's our understanding that, and I think they stated that Heartline will benefit from all the improvements that the CTE provided Battlefield 4. So, if it's one particular thing, it probably will be included in Heartline. I don't know if this specific, like I said, I don't know exactly what the specific one is, but I know that they're taking a lot of the improvements that came out of Battlefield 4 and the CTE and are including them in Heartline. So, whatever that specific thing is you're thinking of, there's a good chance that they will, and we'll just have to wait and see. You'll be able to check it out in the beta, which is probably over by now, or you're in the middle of it right now as you're watching this video, so depending on how long it takes me to edit this stuff.
Okay, so let's go. 617 Berto asks, do you guys think Battlefield 2143 is DICE's next game?
Well, I was being a smartass earlier and I said DICE's next game is Battlefront. But I don't think that's the only answer that he wants to this question.
No.
Well, I mean, honestly, we don't know, but he said, do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think it's the next game. Although it's possible with the way they ended Battlefield 4.
Yes. And
I think they left it very open for that possibility.
And there's a part of me that feels like DICE likes using portions of one game to build on another. And it's a possibility that some of the things that they're developing for Battlefront could be reused in some way in a 2143 type of game, because it's it's futuristic. You get snow, the whole kind of what little bits of pieces we've seen from art. So maybe, I know there's people asking for a 2143. I think we will see a 2143 at some point. I think eventually they will go there. I don't know if it's the next one. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. The next game could be plant-based. It could be, they could be making Plants vs. Zombie Field or something. I don't know. I don't think it's the next one. So.
Zombie Field.
Yeah. That hasn't been used yet.
Mm-mm.
Out of all the zombie iterations of gaming names, that's a new one.
Less survival, more,
Gardening. Gardening.
No, more. I'm thinking just Zombie Field, not Plants vs. Zombie Field.
Oh, well, that...
More,
what I think
less survivalist like DayZ or
Right.
H1Z1, and more,
Zombieland.
no. Well,
What?
maybe, but more like, oh shit. They weren't army based, but they were like civilians that made, you know what I'm thinking of? The word is like just out of my...
Militia?
Yes. More like militia, like civilian militia against zombie, like hordes.
Maybe. That could be an interesting
I don't know.
IP right
Probably not, but I'm totally speculating here.
there. I would play that game, though.
Half-Life 3 confirmed. Just
Yeah.
by DICE.
Oh, boy. Talk about breaking the internet.
Oh, God.
Official
so much
Drox TV asked us, will you have a setup video soon? And I think I clarified with that, and what he's talking about is just like a video of our setup. Monitors, computers, cables, stuff.
When I finish tweaking my setup, yes, we could do that. That would be interesting.
We could. I think I did one years ago, 2 years ago maybe, but is it all that interesting? My setup is a little complicated because I do have.
I think you guys would be more interested in seeing just what I have in my room, like all the crap I have in here, the guns.
Maybe. Well, the guns are a different kind of setup. Yeah.
Yeah. Less so. My computer's not. It's really not that interesting. It's
Well, that's the thing, right? You gotta. We know what. We could go through. I suppose like you're using a Blue Yeti to record, but it's pretty standard stuff.
I'm not using a sock on it anymore.
Right. It's not.
I really did have a
Maybe if we get to the point where we have something like truly unique or custom built or something like that, then maybe it'll be worthwhile.
Your customized flight gear that you tweeted about is kind of neat.
I thought about doing something with that and then got too lazy. But yeah, I do have like I do have some custom things for my like control thing. See, got this mounted on like a speaker stand. But
Pretty neat. I just have a room and I don't even have a desk. I have a folding table. That's one of those static free folding tables from like Lowe's that I got for like $40.
so I guess what we're saying, it's really not that special what's
No,
going on
it's
as far as
really
our
not.
setups are concerned.
No, I do have a futon back there though, so when I get tired, I just go back and lay there and then recharge for the next game.
Yeah, I need that.
I do want a mini fridge in here, but I'm afraid it would hum too much with the mics. So,
It might.
and plus, I guess it's good that I actually have to get up. And
I was going to
walk
say,
to-
I've always felt I've wanted that as well, but I feel like there is a line that as soon as the mini fridge enters your
crossing it.
gaming, then you've gone one step closer to
It's
the
over.
built-in toilet, you know?
Well, but when I was in college and I was in a dorm room,
But then you had to share with people, and it was probably nice to have your
not
own
really because
fridge.
they were never there. But I had my desk and my mini fridge was right there with the coffee pot and the toaster. And man, let me tell you, my bed, like it was all like
Oh,
was
I know.
very
Everything was
squeezed
great.
into.
You rolled, you turned that way, and leaned over, and you were in bed.
Yeah,
That's
and
what my
it
dorm
was
room was
also
like.
a problem because I was playing Counter-Strike with a wireless mouse for some reason. I think my other one died and I borrowed one until I could get a new one. And
Wait, this wasn't yours?
I don't think, or it was given to me or whatever, but I raged really hard at a Counter-Strike match and my window was open and my dorm room was on the 4th floor and right out the window.
So the lesson here is, as nice as it is to have a mini fridge and coffee maker and toaster next to you, keep valuables with, far away for those rage
me.
moments
Yeah,
from her
yeah.
in particular.
Specifically,
Yes.
I tend to throw things.
So lock the windows and nothing breakable within arm's reach.
Yeah. Honestly, my setup, like before computers, like before I got a really great computer, was probably more interesting. My setup back in the day when I really first started gaming, because I had one of those HP computers that was like, it sat flat. It wasn't
Oh yeah.
like a tower.
Yeah.
And then my monitor, huge CRT monitor, sat on top of it. And then instead of a computer chair, I had one of those knee chairs that you just kind of bend your knees and you kind of put your weight on the front and you sit, but like there's no back.
Okay,
And-
yeah.
But
Yeah.
then when I started playing Counter-Strike, that was a really uncomfortable position. So I
Yeah.
ended up just sitting where you're supposed to sit and put my feet up on the resting spot for your knees. And still to this day, I have to have my feet up when I play. So I either play
Mm-hmm.
Indian style or I have an ottoman under my desk where I
Right.
put my feet. But that was yeah.
So yeah, we will. How about this? If we get to the point where something, we got some kind of cool setup, we may do something.
Maybe.
But maybe it's not all that. This is the thing. There are some setup videos on YouTube of people who have like really cool stuff, and I feel like if I made one, it would just kind of be sad.
Yeah.
I would be like, I don't
Mine
have
would
the
be
some of the stuff that like other people have there. But all right, let's see. I think we'll get 2 more questions in. I want to pick one more from PH Prof, and we got one more from Andrew Jones.
Okay.
I feel like I want to. I've been looking at this one from PH Prof, where he's asking where's the interviews. But I assume
Interviews.
that he's.
What interviews?
Well, I assume he's referring to having guests on the show, like interviewing a developer or something like that on the podcast. Now we've done that before on the podcast. We've had Daniel Matros on. We've had Rolly the Poly on. We've had some people on. The problem with, or the challenge with interviewing folks from developers is that usually you have the most questions right at a time like this. For example, for Hardline, there'd be lots of questions for the developers of Hardline right now. This is also the time where they can speak about things the least. So 90% of the questions that would be interesting to have answers to, we could ask, but we would just get no answers to them. So that kind of defeats the purpose of an interview. But it's also difficult because they're all very busy people, and we're pretty busy. And would it be nice to interview somebody again? Like, yeah, when the interview we did with Roland was amazing because we talked so much about the video production side which didn't really have any secrets. We weren't asking about new features in an upcoming game. We're just asking about some of the stuff that he does. Same with Daniel. When we interviewed him, we talked about the role of a community manager more in general than anything specific that he wouldn't be able to answer. So.
And I think recently, if you missed it, DRMB, they've restarted their podcast, and they had the new community manager, Dan, on, and had some great questions for him, and there was great dialogue between him and Lono B, who I know has had a lot to do with Hardline, and he's had a lot of really good things to say. I think his opinions as far as what he's seeing are something, at least something I value. But you're right. I think interviews of what we would want to know are going to be things that they can't really talk about.
That doesn't.
And maybe
mean
we'll do more of that.
Yeah, the time has to be right and the opportunity has to be there. So
yeah,
it's difficult when you're busy. There's a reason that there are so few interviews, and
people have jobs. And,
yes.
Other than the
and
developer,
some people have
better
better opportunity to do those things. Like Jack Frags, for example, has done some great developer interviews, but that's because he's in the position where he gets to meet them face to face a lot. Mm-hmm. So being in the US or in North America in general is actually a disadvantage in a lot of these cases, because it's a lot easier for these guys to fly around Europe, meet up with people. But keep it in mind. Okay, I think this is a good question to end it on. This one's from Andrew Jones. What is the answer to life, Battlefield, and everything?
42.
42.
42.
There you have it. We're going to do another Q&A, I'm sure, probably at the end of this year or something like that. I wanted to thank everybody that wrote in questions. Sorry we didn't get to all of your questions, PH Prof, but you did write in a lot of questions, but all good ones. We're going to skip the homework, I think. Which do you want to tell people what it is that he wanted us to do when we get a chance?
Yes, yeah, when we get a chance. Okay, so this is what he ended it on. When you get a chance, work out the equations for space-time warping using that, I don't even know how to say that word.
Sounds French.
Barymetric, and write it up in a nice report. I haven't written a report. Like, that sounds like a TPS report.
Oh, yes.
If you could do that, that would be great. No.
Get the new cover.
Not writing you for. Love you, PH Prof, but that's not happening.
We want to thank everybody who sent in a question. Hopefully we did a decent job of answering them. And hopefully we had some good conversation around some of these things. There are so many questions and topics here that we could talk a lot longer on. And we will, because some of these will keep coming up in the future, whether we're talking about Hardline or Battlefield in general or whatever. Some of these topics, are just topics that people like you who asked them and us to talk about them talk about all the time. So we enjoyed it, and we hope you enjoyed watching it. And I think our next video, we'll probably have an arcade block unboxing will happen again soon. And
they shipped out last week.
So. Yeah, they'll be here mid of this week. Mm-hmm. And then we will definitely be talking about Hardline at some point after the beta. So thanks again for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed our answers to your questions. We appreciate you sending them in, and hopefully you'll tune in again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hopefully you'll tune in for that. Until then, we'll see you guys later.
Skype is freaking out. I think I lost you. Hello,
your video froze
Chuck.
Right at the end.
Did it die?
So, do you want to... No, it's back now. Do you want to... I don't know what you were doing. If you were... Can you hear me?
No, it's like Skype totally freaked out.
Just give it a second. Just give it a minute. Can you not hear me?
Barely.
Okay, can you just do your bye again? Like, I don't know if you waved or said something.
I didn't, though. Do your rap again. I can see you now.
Okay, now it's better?
Yeah, not really, but that's okay.
Okay, I'll try to make that work.
No, you're frozen again. And the podcast goes to shit. Just...
It literally ended. I
If
said
your
my goodbye
computer's gonna
and you
blow
froze.
up, I won't be able to see that smoke you were talking about earlier. It's like,
Is it still frozen? Still no good?
no, it's not frozen anymore.
That's
I would
okay.
just like get it out quick.
Alright.
So it,
3, 2. So thanks again for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed our answers to your questions. We appreciate you sending them in, and we will catch you again soon.
it froze like mid-sentence. I'm not even shitting you. Let me end the call and I'll call you right back.